Term of the 1981 Bendigo Golden City Grand Final live from the QEO, and straight into attack we see the Castlemaine side trailing 4 goals 8 to Sandhurst 10 goals 10. Here's Castlemaine getting it away from the back line, although Castlemaine of course are going with the wind in this quarter. Umpire Graham Fellows sorting out a free kick in the back line for Castlemaine. They need 2 or 3 quick goals and they could be back in this game, but at this stage of the match it looks like all Sandhurst for the BFL Grand Final. Sandhurst centre wing, but it's going to go over the line and out of bounds. Centre wing here on the QEO. The sun shining once again. We've had intermittent showers throughout this grand final, and of course it's been a pretty entertaining game. Early in the game, a lot of pressure from both sides. We saw a couple of good fights behind the play, and of course the 2 great umpires in charge, Dargaville and Fellows, have kept control right throughout. Here's a chance for Sandhurst to clear through Lenigan from centre half back. A long raking kick in towards the centre half forward position. It's all Castlemaine. They can't mark. A chance there for the Sandhurst Greg Hole. He goes forward, pass it down to the full forward position. Umpire keeping a close eye, but it's going to be thrown out of the pack. Players diving in very hard in this final quarter here at the QEO. We've been playing just on 3 minutes now, and here is the umpire, and it's umpire Fellows to bounce the ball in the forward pocket. A big knock away for Castlemaine. They get the run of the ball. Caught with the ball, he is, and he's sorting out a free. No, he's going to bounce the ball, umpire Fellows, at centre half forward.
Well, now for umpire Fellows to dispatch the Ross Faulkner into the turf. He's done so too. The big knock taken over the top there by Chris Green for Sandhurst. Coming out of the pack, we find Castlemaine driving it forward. The kick is smothered, however, off the boot. Now a little bit of punching of the ball goes on here off Jamie Burns' arms. Can't do much with it. Still charging through there. Sandhurst and full of running, getting it up towards their half-forward flank, looking for and finding Gary Allen. Still has the run of the ball, but can't keep it in play. Ton of pressure being put on him there by Stan Kamoff as it goes over the line and out of bounds on the true half-forward flank division on the grandstand side of the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Very pleased to say that the rain is again holding off for the conclusion of this 1981 Grand Final, as it's taken once again through the centre of the pack there and dispatched by Greg Hull towards the full forward division. Nearly a mark pulled down by Exel, but couldn't quite handle it as it goes through for yet another behind and another score to Sandhurst as they move to 10-11-71, leading Castlemaine 4-8-32. That's a lead of 39 points, and we've been playing around about 2 minutes in this, the final quarter. Waiting now for the full-back to kick out. Actually, we've got McClure kicking out now. McClure getting it back towards the outer half-back flank division. Can't do much with it. Charging it through the centre here. We find his little, one of the smallest players on the ground in Peter Mills, getting it down towards the half-forward line, just eluding the arms of Tony Strong. Drops to the ground and allows the defence with a bit of hand passing there from Hartney, getting it to his teammate in the person of Gary Barber, dispatching it beautifully right down Dennis O'Connor's throat on the half-forward flank. Dennis O'Connor now putting it up towards the half-forward line. Up over the top of the pack it goes, eluding the big outstretched arms there of Chris Green. To the ground it goes once more. Defence coming into operation as they charge out of that back line down towards the centre of the ground, but a very strong mark has been taken right in the middle of the ground, and we'll see the Sandhurst side with a hand pass getting it to Peter Lenigan. Lenigan, a captain's game this afternoon, with a left foot dispatch towards full forward. Over the top of Exel it goes towards the boundary line where brother Michael Lenigan has the ball and beautifully puts it down the throat out there of Gary Crouch.
Right in front of the scoreboard it shows Sandhurst 10 goals 11-71 to Castlemaine 4-8-32. Played about 4.5 minutes into the final term of the 1981 Grand Final here at the QEO. Here's Crouch's kick into the forward line, but it's knocked off hands and through for a behind.
That's 40 points the separation, which is pretty handy at the moment.
Yes, the big fella down there at full-back is Ian McClure. Started off and played very well at centre half-back, and he seems to have picked up a leg injury, Graham, and it's certainly restricting him.
Yes, just looking at Peter Five. He's come out to centre half-back trying to look after Peter Road out there, but I think the move might be a little bit too late.
The ball now on the forward pocket for the Sandhurst side, and they seem to have found a couple of yards in this final quarter. Here's the throw-in the half-forward flank. Knocked down by Sandhurst. They're certainly going in harder in this final term against Castlemaine. They come out with the pack. A kick going in towards the full forward. Lenigan tries to mark it. It's off hands and out of bounds about 25 metres around from the behind post. Right in the forward pocket with Sandhurst kicking to the scoreboard end.
Talking of the scoreboard, it says 10-12-72 for Sandhurst and 4-8-32 for Castlemaine. Not a pretty sight for the multitude of Castlemaine people who are up here this afternoon. Off the back of the pack, a nice bit of handball goes on into the arms of Ron Cawthon out there. Cawthon puts it around towards the centre wing division. Only a strong mark pulled in there as he charged through, and Andrew Storer couldn't do much with it, however, and the ball is put down towards the half-forward flank where it finds the arms of Ian Hargraves. Hargraves now putting it towards centre half-forward. beautifully picking out his teammate and Jamie Byrne, the interchange player. Trying to cringe over the mark there was Gary Crouch. There's the kick down towards the full forward division. It's not quite well directed, and it goes up over the top of the pack, and chasing it towards the boundary line is Keith Cleve. The umpire says what? Will throw the ball in from right beside the Castlemaine behind post, and they are 40 points in the arrears at the moment, and I think a margin far too great to make up with 5 minutes already encountered for in this, the final quarter. There's the knock to the ground, taking it through very nicely, but putting it over the line and out of bounds. There was Keith Cleve, the full-back for the Sandhurst club, who's done an excellent job this afternoon. And Wayne Crosby kicked 1 goal before he was moved to centre-half forward. He can't do much better than that when you consider that he kicked 12 goals in the second semi-final. There's the throw in about 20 metres around from the Castlemaine goal. The big men fly up over the top of the pack. Chance for a goal coming up here. The umpire says through for only 1 behind. And we find it's now 4-9, 33 to 10-12, 72, with Sandhurst leading by 39 points.
Crosby, the player, kicked that behind. Well, it's Sandhurst to kick in. Sun shining once again here at the QEO in Bendigo. Although a little bit gusty, but although Castlemaine are kicking with the aid of a slight breeze. The ball out in towards the cricket pitch area, right in the centre of the ground here. Castlemaine player in charge of the ball there is Ron Cawthon. He gets it away, takes a bounce of the ball, and a slight pass down there looking for his forward, and he's not going to pay that, umpire Dargaville. Play on is the call. Down into a pack it goes. A scrimmage of players, and umpire Dargaville finally comes in, and he'll bounce the ball. Centre-half forward position for Castlemaine here on the QEO.
Just waiting now for the dispatch of the Ross Faulkner, and there it is, high into the air. The big men will fly. Nobody gets any direct result there with no rovers about. Opportunity for a score coming up here as it heads towards the big ones, but we find it's offline again, off the boots there of Ron Cawthon, who in the first few minutes of this quarter certainly has picked his game up and has picked up about 2 or 3 dispatches. Waiting now for the fullback in Cleve to kick the ball in. Keith Cleve, the fullback for the Sandhurst club, decides on the broadcasting side of the ground. The big men fly up over the top of the pack. Nobody can possess the ball. Trying to take it away is Shane Hartney. Loses it just as quickly. Hand passing there, and then a thump by Gary Kerwin. Sees it hit the turf. Charging through is Gary Barber. Can't do much with it. There's Michael Lenigan again, beautifully hand passing it, but just eluding the outstretched arms of Gary Barber, and it's over the line right in front of the large crowd here at the grandstand side of the Oval.
Well, I don't think Sandhurst have had any passengers at all today, Graham.
Pretty evenly dispatched side this afternoon, the Sandhurst boys, and Peter Lenigan should feel very pleased the way he's got them up here this afternoon. There's the ball, once again finding its way into Shane Hartney's hands, up towards the half-forward line. Bounces awkwardly for all concerned, punch to the ground. It's at centre-half forward, and we'll find a bounce of the ball. No, not necessarily, as Kamoff tries to take it away. Once again, it goes up towards the scoring zone, as charging through the pack there is Jeffries. He's been a pretty good player this afternoon in defence. Certainly had a ton to do, I can assure you of that. Goes right through the legs on that occasion of Andy Moore. Couldn't pick it up. Oh, there's a nice heavy knock as it drops to the turf again, as we see it taken towards the boundary line. The umpire says no ball as the crowd scream out, trying to dictate play, but it's over the line and out of bounds, about 40 metres around, 45 metres around from the Sandhurst goal.
8 minutes into the final term here at the Bendigo Golden City Grand Final. On the boundary, here comes the throw-in. No one gets a decisive knock away. Coming from the back line, it's Castlemaine. Back towards the centre wing position. Thumped off hands. Here's a chance here for the Sandhurst player in Dennis O'Connor. The Rover, he's kicked 2 goals already today, and he'll get a free kick from the central umpire.
Played very well this afternoon, Dennis O'Connor, and I think apart from Lenigan, has not been shaded by any of his teammates.
O'Connor's kick into the forward line. Off hands, a chance there for
Exel.
Exel it is, and a snap off the pack, and Gavin Exel, who came on as an interchange player in the 3rd term, kicks his first goal for the afternoon.
And here it is once again on slow-mo off the boots of number 2, Exel, as they move now to 11-12. That'll make them 78 to 4-10-34.
A confident kick there from Exel. As soon as he kicked that ball, he turned to his teammates and jumped for joy, and he knew it was there as soon as it left his boot.
Well, he had 2 shots in the 3rd quarter, from firstly from a free kick given to him after Mick Lenigan was felled on the centre wing, and also from a very good mark, and he managed 2. In fact, he managed 1 behind and 1 out of bounds on the full, so he's made up for that with stamping his name in the record books.
Well, the scoreboard now is Sandhurst 11-12, 78 to Castlemaine 4 goals, 10-34, and Sandhurst running away with the Bendigo Golden City Grand Final of 1981 here at the QEO this afternoon. The ball is in the half-forward line now for Castlemaine. They come forward, a long handball out to the Rover in Peter Mills, a busy rover for Castlemaine this afternoon. He dives in, loses possession of the ball. Sandhurst in a very scrambly last half of play here on the QEO, and the umpire is coming in to sort out a free kick, and it's going the way of Lenigan, the centre-half back and captain coach of Sandhurst.
Interesting statistic is that Castlemaine, since quarter time, have only managed to score 3 goals 2, and in that particular period there have been 6 goals 7 scored by the opposition.
A handball into the centre of the ground. It's all Castlemaine there. Can they pick it up and get out of trouble? The ball coming down towards the centre-half forward position. Here's a chance for Sandhurst to relieve through the agency there of Shane Hartney. Played a very good game from the half-back flank this afternoon. He kicks it out into the wide open spaces where once again Castlemaine come forward through the centre-half forward John Stevenson. But the umpire coming in and sorting out a free kick going the way of Gary Allen. He's already kicked 1 goal this afternoon for Sandhurst. He plays on. Goes out towards his teammate in Gary Crouch. The ball down towards the full forward position, and a good mark taken there by Gary Kerwin. In the ruck, a very steady game from Gary Kerwin this afternoon.
Definitely the most effective ruckman on the ground. Kerwin has played very well. Goes for the short pass. He's looking for his teammate. Finds him very nicely there as Gary Barber streaks out and will have the opportunity of putting his first goal on the board, and the 12th as far as Sandhurst are concerned. Time certainly gone as far as Castlemaine would be thinking this afternoon. There's the kick on its way from Barber, on its way right through the centre as we find Sandhurst move to 12-12, 84, and Castlemaine 4-10, 34.
When people come to your home, one of the first things they notice is the front door. Lawtons carry a wide range of fly screen and security doors in designs to enhance contemporary home styles or to harmonize with modern-day home design in a range of styles that's as individual as your home itself. And of course, Lawtons also carry a full stock of fly-wire window screens. Lawtons, doorways to decorating ideas. See them at Mooroopna, Wodonga and Bendigo.
Back here at the QEO, Castlemaine in possession. A handball out on the centre wing. Castlemaine lead in the race for the ball. Player trying to elude his Sandhurst opponents as the ball coming. And a very strong play there by Castlemaine's John Jeffries. But the umpire bringing the ball back onto the mark. He said he's run too far. And it's going to be a free kick here to relieve for Sandhurst. And the player there is Shane Hartney on the half-back flank.
That was a desperation move from Jeffries. He's playing in the back pocket division, and while he is walking back there, his opponent Dennis O'Connor has received the pass there off the boots of Shane Hartney. And again we find Sandhurst alive and well here in this final quarter, with Greg Hull taking possession of the ball right on the half-forward flank. Greg Hull now with a right foot kick, puts it towards the goals. It'll swing back pretty well right to the 10-metre square. Up getting high there is Exel. Played well since he's come on. Exel kicked 1 goal, could have kicked 3. Coming out is McClure trying to drive the ball away. Can't do so, however, as a hand pass comes off the hands on that occasion of Hull once more. And it's developing into a bit of a scramble up there as players throwing their arms around pretty well. And now there's going to be McClure and Exel going to have a dance of love down in the forward pocket there, buffeting each other. An experienced player up against youth, I would suggest, in that particular encounter. There's the pass coming up from that half-forward flank, and they're doing it so very well. They're playing keepings off now as Peter Rode finds the ball in his possession, and certainly within his keeping to kick a goal. They've got 12-12 on the board to 4-10 at the moment, so a pretty handy 50-point lead on that board for Sandhurst. As the kick on its way, looks pretty good from here. As it goes now, it wears off and goes through for 1 point. 12-13.
On the clock, 14 minutes gone, but the scoreboard now, Sandhurst 12 goals, 13, leading Castlemaine 4 goals, 10. Here's the kick in from fullback for Castlemaine. Out into the forward pocket, and it's all Castlemaine. And of course, Sandhurst trying to come over the top of Castlemaine in this final stages of this final here on the QEO this afternoon. Here's Sandhurst. McAvale it is, across the face of goal. High is Excel. The umpire calls play on, and it's off hands and over the line. And it's going to be a behind.
Great little leap on Excel too. He certainly added a little bit of bite down in that full forward division and done it very nicely indeed. Waiting now for the ball to get its way back towards the centre of the ground. It does so very nicely, eluding all players out there as charging it over the top of it and trying to pick it up is Shane Hartney. Can't do so at the moment. Ball would be a little bit slippery, although a drying wind here this afternoon, favouring at this moment Castlemaine, who are not making advantage of it down towards the city end. as the bounce by umpire Graham Fellows. A big long knock taken there off the top of the pack by Shane Hartley. Gets it to the ground. It finds its way towards centre half forward. Punched very nicely away. Trying to pick it up there is Gary Kerwin. Couldn't do so cleanly, so defence comes into operation, and the free kick will be taken on that last line of defence by Tony Culliver. Tony Culvener gets it down towards the centre wing division. Charging in underneath it over there is Mark Rowley. Can't do much with it, and it's over the line and out of bounds. So says umpire Graham Fellows for a throw-in on the Bath side, the outer side of this, the Queen Elizabeth Oval. The scoreboard shows 12-14-86 for the Sandhurst club. The Dragons doing it well. The Magpies only 4-10-34. Final quarter has been in operation around about 15 minutes. So we've probably got about 10 minutes to play, although not many goals scored, so probably more like 7 or 8. The ball once again centre wing division, certainly getting barracked up out there as the ball high in the air off Hargrave's hands, but he's got no rovers, as he hasn't had for most of the day. Comes out of the pack over there by O'Connor. He tried to get it to the ground. Eventually it's picked up by Peter Lenigan up towards centre half forward. A hand pass and a quick one there from Gary Allen. Sees further hand passing come up, and they're moving the ball very well at the moment as Peter Rode charges through the pack and puts it on its way for the umpire to say hit the post and through for 1 point. 12-15-87 Sandhurst to 4-10-34 for Castlemaine, and time certainly is well away for the Castlemaine boys, and like Collingwood, I think they're going to have to wait just another year.
Not the year of the Magpies. Ian McClure it is at fullback to kick out for Castlemaine. A left foot kick. A nice kick too, out towards the centre half forward position. Under it a pack of players, but it's McAvail, a busy half forward flanker for Sandhurst this afternoon. The ball up towards the full forward position. McAvail appears for it, but it's going the way of McClure, and he's going to give a 15-minute penalty against Excel, who threw the ball away. And it's Ian McClure, who started off at centre half back in fine form, and he suffered an injury in the second term and went back to that full back position, and he's played a very solid game. McClure, a left foot kick once again out towards centre wing, right in front of the grandstand. A packed crowd here at the QEO with a gate of around about $6,000. Crouch it is from the centre of the ground. A raking kick in towards full forward. McClure in front. Exor at a second grab. He can't take it. It's all Sandhurst from the forward line. And here it is. A great goal for Sandhurst off the boot of the rover Dennis O'Connor. And that's his third goal this afternoon as Sandhurst go further ahead. Here's the action replay. Fine play off hands, and it's young Dennis O'Connor, very damaging player on the ball for Sandhurst.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he's played very well this afternoon, and I don't think it's quite shaded Michael Lenigan, but if somebody said that he was their best player, I wouldn't be surprised at all. 13-15 is now stamped on the board as far as Sandhurst are concerned. That makes them 93 to 4-10-34, and in fact since half-time we find that only 5 points have been scored by Castlemaine. Waiting now for the bounce of the ball in the centre. Umpire Dargaville is the man to dispatch it in that area. Drops to the ground, trying to take it away out there was Castlemaine. Couldn't do so, and the umpire will come in again and do just what he did a few moments ago, bounce the Ross Faulkner. Sun shining in eyes out there, having a few words with a few people, as we find 93 playing 34, and time certainly ticking away with about 20 minutes gone in the final quarter. Gary Crouch tries to go through, gets tripped, but play on is the call into a very open Sandhurst half forward line. As charging out there we find the very deliberate attempts as it gets to O'Connor, and O'Connor puts it towards the goals, but only to find it going through for one behind. Very damaging player O'Connor this afternoon, as we mentioned in the third quarter. Certainly not very much of him, but has played particularly well.
In a low-scoring game, Dennis O'Connor is the biggest goal-getter of the day.
Yes, Dennis O'Connor has 3 so far, and 2 to Mark McAvail and Michael Lenigan, both scored in the first quarter, and all singles as far as Castlemaine are concerned, distributed over 4 of their players. McClure now with a left foot kick, kicks it out from full back for Castlemaine. Big men fly, trying to get underneath it. There was Peter Fife, who's come out from the full back division to try and stir the side on, but I think might have left the run just that little bit late. Certainly not enviable for a captain being down at the full-back division when everything seems to be happening. Waiting now for the ball to be thrown in from the full-forward division as far as Sandhurst are concerned. Probably 80% of the play this afternoon for the Sandhurst boys as it comes off the boots there of Peter Rode. Gets it high in the air. The just about broad rain as McAvail goes in underneath it, heads towards the boundary, then tries to centre it up. Does so reasonably well. Axel from behind punches the ball to the ground, giving opportunities, but it's Fife coming in. A long hand pass, then a big punch of the ball back towards the Kamoff area. I think he thought he marked that Kamoff, but unfortunately it was a punch rather than a kick, and it's going to have to be a bounce of the ball on the half-forward flank. half-forward flank for the Sandhurst side, coming up for their premiership celebrations very shortly, because they lead 13-16-94 to 4-10-34.
60 points the difference in the grand final of 81. It's all Sandhurst as Lenigan relieves from the half-back flank. The ball down towards the half-forward flank now for Sandhurst. In the thick of things there is Dennis O'Hare, a good player since he come on from interchange. The ball going in towards the full forward line now, but relieving there for Castlemaine is Ian McClure. He's been a good player, but the ball being called back by the boundary umpire, and umpire Keith Dargaville runs in now to sort things out, having a word to the boundary umpire, and he will make a decision. Well, it could be a throw-in in the back pocket now.
Sandhurst had 3 sides in the finals this afternoon. They missed out on the under-17s, they missed out on the reserves, but they're certainly not going to miss out on the Senior 18 Premiership Cup with 94-34, and a very big 60-point lead here in the final stages of this game. The ball drops to the ground, taking it away again, we find, as the elusive Dennis O'Connor puts it on its way, and the umpire says
hit the post
for 1 point. Second time hit the post in around about 2 or 3 minutes. Couldn't do it if he tried. 13-17, 95 to 4-10-34.
He's been a very busy player, and this is the final term. O'Connor, he's kicked 3 goals. He's the principal goal getter this afternoon. McClure, a short kick from the back line, out and finds his teammate in Kamov. Kamov comes around the centre wing right in front of the packed grandstand, but Lenigan flies, cops one for his troubles too, and a good mark there to Lenigan on the half-forward flank.
Would be just about out on his feet, as a matter of fact. Lenigan was the player, in my opinion, that just about broke Castlemaine's heart in the early stages of the game. He's continued on pretty well, and he's received a few heavy knocks, and as I said before, I think personally that he is the best on the ground. There's the kick. It wobbles its way towards the half-forward line. 2 Castlemaine players mess each other up as O'Connor comes through the pack, gets it to his teammate, slams towards goals, and off the boots of Greg Hull, yet another one, as Castlemaine go to, Sandhurst go to 14-17, 101 as opposed to 4-10-34.
Whatever your business may be, you need Golden City Data Systems. Bob and Jeff from Golden City Data Systems invite you to compare your business needs with their business systems, which include debtors, creditors, general ledger, stock control, and payroll. Why let your business worries get you down? Call in now and see the experienced team who are waiting to design a program around your business requirements. Leave your worries with the experts. Bob and Jeff at Golden City Data Systems, Mitchell Street, Bendigo.
23 minutes into the final term of the Bendigo Golden City Grand Final, live from the QEO this afternoon. Here's the kick for Castlemaine, going goalwards. Peter Mills, the rover it is, kicks into the man. Here's McAvale once again. Strong play from him. But handball out on Crouch. He gets a thumping behind the play, and umpire Keith Dargaville comes in and warns a Castlemaine player, and the kick goes downfield, and taking that kick for Sandhurst is Greg Hull. He's kicked 2 goals this afternoon after coming on as an interchange player. Hull it is from the centre of the ground here at the QEO. A long kick in towards centre half forward. And a great mark is being paid here to Sandhurst. Sandhurst at centre half forward. That player is Chris Green. He's kicked 1 goal already this afternoon. A nice raking kick going in towards the full forward. XL takes that second grab, and here's a kick from the big player in Ian McClure, and this ball is going out of bounds on the full in the forward pocket with Sandhurst attacking. 14 goals, 17, 101. Lead Castlemaine, 4 goals, 10, 34.
Guess who's going to take it? Dennis O'Connor. No, yes, he is going to take it, O'Connor. He's kicked 3 goals this afternoon. I don't think he'll kick this one, but he short passes it very nicely to his teammate who overruns the ball from that particular division, and that was Chris Green again. It's still in the half-forward flank division as far as Sandhurst are concerned. We're driving it back towards the centre wing. We find once again Sandhurst with Gary Crouch throwing the ball out. The umpire said it's all right. Peter Lenigan goes through hard. Crouch in there again. Kick towards the boundary line, this time off the boots of Tony Strong. Once again, Castlemaine still not giving up, even though they trail 34, made up of 4-10, as opposed to Sandhurst 14-17. 101.
23 minutes gone in the final quarter, approaching that time on period. The ball in front of the grandstand, Castlemaine attacking. Here's a high kick at centre wing position. Underneath it is Hoyle. He can't take it. Here's a chance here for Castlemaine. They can't get the ball away from that centre wing position. A pack evolves and a couple of players behind the play having a bit of a scrap up, and umpire Keith Dargaville comes in and sorts them out. He'll give a free kick the way of Sandhurst. The crowd agree. You can hear the background noise. The kick to centre wing. And a great mark here for Sandhurst. They'll steady now as we approach the time on period. Player for Sandhurst is Dennis O'Connor, a busy rover here in the final quarter. He's already kicked 3 goals. Ball at centre wing, knocked off hands and out of bounds on the half-forward flank now. and the boundary umpire coming in to throw in. Umpire up there throwing it in now. Pack develops under the ball. Fife gets a knockdown. But Hoyle comes in and the umpire sorting out a free kick, and it's going the way of Castlemaine. They relieve from the half-back flank. Kicking in towards centre wing position. A big knock away by the Sandhurst player Lenigan. He handballs onto his brother Peter, and here's the ball going towards centre half forward. Excel is a long way out in front of Ian McClure on this occasion. He's taken some big leaps in the last 10 minutes or so, and Excel, who came on as an interchange player, out at centre half forward. A left foot kick towards goal. There's his kick, a high kick, the wind bringing it around. The umpire right underneath it, and he says it's a goal. He's kicked truly, and there's a great goal there from young Excel as Sandhurst go further ahead. 15-17, 101, lead Castlemaine 4-10-34.
From DSM Estates Bendigo, a fantastic 2-for-1 offer on the Red Baron metal detector. For every purchase of a Red Baron metal detector, you receive free one White's VLF Treasure Master detector with press button tuning valued at $334. The Red Baron detector, Rolls-Royce of the Bounty Hunter range, with VLF to eliminate ironstone interference, waterproof loop, and a lifetime warranty. Call DSM Estates now for this great 2-for-1 offer on the fabulous Red Baron metal detector.
Coming up to the conclusion of the 1981 Grand Final, we find the scoreboard shows that Sandhurst a 15-17, 107 compared to the 4-10-34 for Castlemaine. The ball wide on the centre wing division. Mark slipped out of the hands. The umpire said held long enough. They charged forward again off the boots on that occasion of Dale Williams. Gets it down towards the full forward division where it hasn't been very much this afternoon. Opportunity arising here for Tony Strong. Does it well. Desperate stuff. Oh, the umpire says play on. That was pretty brutal stuff as we find a long-awaited goal coming up off the boots of Brett Fitzpatrick, and bit of altercation going on down there as players are running in, but the umpire indicating that Brett Fitzpatrick has put through the first goal since half-time as far as Castlemaine are concerned, and they now go to 5-10. That makes them 40 on that scoreboard as opposed to 15-17, 107. A little bit late now, I think, to be bringing in the rough stuff here in the final stages of the game. 40 playing 107, and we're right on time. Not many goals scored, so I would imagine probably only about 2 minutes to go in this grand final. Big men fly. Hargraves takes it out of the centre, trying to get his boot to the ball. Does so eventually up towards the half-forward line. Only to find the strength once again of the Sandhurst side through Noel Belzer taking it on that division. And passes quickly across there to his teammate Shane Hartney. Loses it, but then gathers momentum. Gets it onto the right boot, up towards the half-forward line. Defence coming into operation here through Tony Culvener. Gets it out towards the centre wing. Falls over. Hand passes. Gary Crouch comes in. Doesn't need to. The assistance there was Mark McAvale getting the ball, but eventually onto the boots over there of Chris Green as it goes high, wide and handsome on that half-forward flank. All these players, I think, just about out on their feet as they come to the conclusion of the 1981 Grand Final, as again Sandhurst go into operation. This time Lenigan has the ball about 35-40 metres out from goal, and Michael Lenigan has hit the post again, the third poster in the final quarter. 2 by young O'Connor, and now 1 by Lenigan, but it still moves the scoreboard to 15-18, 108, as opposed to 5-10-40 for Castlemaine, coming up to siren time here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Gary Crouch again was lending assistance, but didn't need to. O'Connor puts it onto his left boot, only to find the defence coming into operation in that back pocket division, and Jeffries is the player. Jeffries now bringing it wide, looking here, and he should find his teammate in the big arms of Jeffersoni. Jeffersoni gets hold of the ball just in front there of Gary Allen. Jeffersoni been a serviceable player this afternoon, getting it to the centre wing, but chipping in very nicely and taking the mark right in front of the grandstand is Shane Hartney. Shane Hartney now, number 30, stamped on his back for the Sandhurst club, gets a right boot into the ball up towards the half-forward line. Big pack of players fly, and a good strong mark has been taken over the back of the pack there by John Jeffries. Jeffries played a great game this afternoon, probably the only Castlemaine player to put in 4 vigorous quarters of football. Down towards the centre wing, off the hands of the pack. Tony Strong tried but couldn't. Coming through, the skipper of the Sandhurst side in Peter Lenigan. Gets it up towards the half-forward line. Off the hands once again on that occasion of Peter Fife, trying desperately to get his side moving, but time petering out very quickly, and certainly Sandhurst will win the Advertiser Cup here as the premiers for 1981.
Well, I reckon we've played about 3 minutes of time on here, so that siren is very, very close. The umpire coming in to sort out a free kick, and it'll go Castlemaine's way downfield. Castlemaine at centre wing in front of the packed grandstand as the big crowd get ready for the presentation of the Advertiser Cup, and a further 15-metre penalty going away of Castlemaine, bringing them further downfield at the centre wing position.
Getting a bit technical at this late stage of the game, umpire Fellows.
The kick in towards the half-forward line. Castlemaine in front, but the umpire, Dargaville, comes in, and once again another free kick going to the way of Castlemaine. Right on the half-forward flank. Have the wind behind him. Closing stages, this is Wayne Crosby, who played at full forward and kicked 12 goals in the second semi. He's only kicked one today. A very quiet player for Castlemaine. He was moved out to the centre-half forward position, and a snap there for Castlemaine, and that is Ron Cawthorne, the centre-half forward, adding his first goal for this afternoon, and Castlemaine making their score just that little more respectable.
They move now to 6-10. That'll make them 46 on that scoreboard as opposed to 15-18, 108. Umpire Graham Fellows has the ball back in the centre. Two top umpires officiating this afternoon, which unfortunately for the crowd has been a reasonably one-sided affair, with Sandhurst showing pretty clean heels right through the afternoon. Up they go. Hargraves tried but couldn't. Knocked to the ground very nicely by Kerwin. Drops to the turf once more. Free kick has been awarded, and Michael Lenigan will be the recipient in the centre of the ground.
We'll have reporter Bruce Wardley on the boundary to have a couple of words with some of the players as they come from the ground just prior to the presentation of the Advertiser Cup. There's Lenigan's kick from the centre square down towards the centre-half forward position. Castlemaine trying to get it out of the pack. A long hand pass there from the Castlemaine player Hargraves, looking for a teammate, but here's a chance for Sandhurst once again, and a great kick from Peter Roda in towards the full forward position, goes through for a behind. 15 goals 19 Sandhurst to Castlemaine 6 goals 10. We've played about 3.5 minutes of time on.
There's the kick by McClure, putting it out towards the outer half-back flank division, finding one of the smaller men on the ground, and the person there of Peter Mills drops the ball just as quickly, but still that fighting spirit is there for Castlemaine. The Magpies won't give up. The ball drops to the turf, brought beautifully back and set it up for Lenigan to mark it at centre-half forward. Could play on, but why do so at this late stage of the game? And the big fellow coming out there has played a great game, McClure, in that centre-half back and full-back division this afternoon. Michael Lenigan kicked 2 this afternoon, hit the post about 2 minutes ago. Let's see if he can redeem himself and put another one on the board. Mickelson medal winner puts it pretty true on this occasion. His third for the afternoon and the 16th. And they move now to 16-19 on that scoreboard, which is a pretty handy score in a grand final, and certainly have scored quite repeatedly through the afternoon. 16-19. Which will take them to 115 as opposed to Castlemaine 6-10-46.
We'll have a look at the replay now of Mick Lenigan's goal. There's his kick from the centre-half forward position. True and straight. Goal umpire right underneath it, didn't have to move 1 inch at all, and he signals the goal as Sandhurst really wrapping up this game in the closing stages. I'd say about 30 seconds to go, and here's a chance now for Castlemaine. They get the run of the ball on the centre wing. Handballed away from Sandhurst out up there towards McAvale. He's been a fine player on the half-forward flank. He's won his flank all day for Sandhurst, and the attacking kick goes in towards the half-forward flank, and here's that danger man Lenigan once again. He lines him up from a long way out, and it's a free kick downfield, says umpire Graham Fellows, as Lenigan once again flattened after he disposed of the ball, and Graham Fellows coming in, the umpire, and he'll give the free kick to Lenigan in the forward pocket. He'll be kicking directly into the sun.
That was just about as he kicked it, so therefore not giving it downfield. And Michael Lenigan, who in my opinion has been best on the ground, but if somebody came up with the name of Dennis O'Connor, I don't think that I would argue too much about that. They've both been very serviceable players this afternoon. He's around about 35 metres out from goal. Pretty acute angle, tries to swing it back. The big men fly. Exel gets high, and there is the siren to end the 1981 Grand Final. The Champagne supporters, children, dogs, and everybody run here onto the ground as we find the final score is 16-19, 115, 16-19, 115, as compared to Castlemaine 6-10-46. And certainly great jubilation in the camp of Sandhurst, but not so in the camp of Castlemaine. Just running through the goal kickers very quickly this afternoon, we found that Gavin Exel kicked 2 after coming on as an interchange player. Michael Lenigan 3. Gary Allen kicked 1. Gary Crouch 1. 2 to Mark McAvale. 2 to Greg Hull. 1 to Gary Barber. Chris Green kicked 1. And equal top goal kicker on the ground with Mick Lenigan was Dennis O'Connor with 3. For Castlemaine, Mick Allen has kicked 1. Ron Cawthorne 1. Wayne Crosby 1, Stan Kamoff 1, Brett Fitzpatrick 1, and Rick Gervasono, it's pretty hard to say at this late stage of the game, has also kicked 1.
Well, let's have a look at some of the better players, Graham, in this grand final here this afternoon. And Dennis O'Connor, a great little rover for Sandhurst, who kicked 3 goals, was very, very prominent in the final half of the game. Of course, Mick Lenigan, ruck roving. He played a terrific game for Sandhurst, particularly in the opening 10 minutes of this grand final. He was everywhere in the thick of things. And, of course, there'll be big celebrations out Sandhurst Townway tonight.
Yes, I would imagine so. Just having a look at the best players for the afternoon, $50 to the 2 best players from each side. And this has been donated by the Winfield Company. We find that Rick Jones from the Bendigo Advertiser has selected as the best player for Sandhurst, young Dennis O'Connor. As I said, I wouldn't argue too much with that. Great player this afternoon. And for the Castlemaine club, it has their big sharpshooter in Wayne Crosby, who kicked 109 goals before the start of this game, only ended up with 1 for the afternoon, and takes his tally to the season, a very credible 110. There's Peter Lenigan on your screen, a very happy coach of the Sandhurst club, being chaired in and thrown, literally thrown into the barrier because the presentations are about to be made. I thought that the good players for Sandhurst were Mick Lenigan, as I mentioned, Dennis O'Connor, Gary Kerwin, undoubtedly the best ruckman on the ground. Keith Cleve played a very good game at full back because he had Crosby moved off him early in the game after only 1 game. Chris Green played also a pretty serviceable game. Peter Lenigan wasn't probably the star that he usually is in the Bendigo Golden City Football League, but I thought a very strong and serviceable game this afternoon. Mark McAvale, undoubtedly a very elusive half-forward flanker with 2 great goals. Gary Crouch, I thought, after about a quarter and a bit, managed to get on top in the centre, and I mentioned Michael Lanigan. For Castlemaine, Ian McClure, I thought, along with Jeffries, their 2 backmen, played very, very well indeed. Hargraves tried hard in the ruck all day. Peter Fife at full back, hardly put a foot wrong. Stan Kamoff and also his little roving partner there in Peter Mills, especially probably around about the 2nd quarter and early into the 3rd quarter, started to exert some pressure but faded reasonably quickly because O'Connor was certainly the best rover on the ground this afternoon. And I thought that Rick Jervis only tried very hard, but they were outclassed this afternoon, the Castlemaine club, as we cross now down to the celebrations area to the secretary of the league.
Thank you, Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, let me congratulate the Sandhurst Football Club on winning the 1981 Premiership. Commiserations to Mel Stevens and the boys from Castlemaine, and I'm sure you'll agree that they were beaten by a better side. Yeah, there they go. Let me thank you, the public, for the way you've turned out today to witness this game, and I'm sure you've got your money's worth. Once again, to Sandhurst Football Club, congratulations on a wonderful game and a wonderful year. I'd like now to introduce Mr. Reg McDonald from the Bendigo Advertiser, who will present the Advertiser Cup to the winning coach, Peter Lenigan.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, our commiserations to all those Magpie supporters and the Magpie players. It's just not your year, but to the Sandhurst boys, we congratulate you. It was a great game. I'd now like to present you with the cup.
That'll be right. I can hang on to it.
I'd like to thank the Bendigo Advertiser for providing the trophy. It is something that every club in the Bendigo League aims for. And believe me, they're hard things to come by. I'd like to thank Wes Hamilton and his committee at Sandhurst. They've given us every support. And we've always been confident of winning this, even though it didn't look so good during the year. But to the fellas that played today and the fellas that missed out, well done, fellas, and let's come back for another one next year.
Right, well, back up here in the main commentary position, there'll be a few bits of champagne drunk out of the Advertiser Shield. Just repeating the final scores here, 16-19, 115. Sandhurst have defeated Castlemaine 6-10-46. Castlemaine trailed by 24 points at quarter time. They trailed by 26 at half, 38 at three-quarter, and 69 in the final analysis.
Graham, earlier in the day, the matches there we saw in the under-17 game, Golden Square 14 goals 12 defeats Sandhurst 7 goals 6, and the reserve 18 grand final this afternoon, it was Castlemaine 7 goals 8, 50 points, defeating Sandhurst 5 goals 11, 41.
O'Connor from Sandhurst took out the $50 from Winfield as adjudged the best player for the Dragons this afternoon. And for the Magpies, Jeffries in the back line, who played a sterling game. That's all we have for you. Alan Besley, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us at the... Yes, we will bleed again till next year. That's all we have for you this afternoon. Thanks to the crew, Greg McQualter and the boys. Done a great job this afternoon. All those back at the studios, those manning links, we say a very good afternoon as we see the Sandhurst boys celebrating their 1981 premiership.
How's it gone today, Bruce?
Good.
Has it?
Well, you put a lot in and you worked real hard. There were days when you tried, there were days when you started trying to please the crowd when they're unforgiving. There are easier ways to make a living. Well, we've come a long way since the start of things, when we've seen the joy that hard work brings. You've made us cry and you've made us smile. You hit the front, now it's all worthwhile. 'Cause there's one day in September we want to remember.
This has been another sporting presentation through the Channel 8 network.